Welcome back to another Nights of Fright. It's us. We're here. And this week we're talking Monster House. This movie is 11 years old. Can you believe this movie is 11 years old? It's
No.
11 years old, and it's still one of our favorite Halloween movie treats to watch when the season comes, and we're going to talk about it. There will be spoilers. If you haven't seen it, don't know what's wrong with you, but just beware. Alright, so where do we begin with this one?
Let's just begin with this movie. Is that I want to say is that this is one of the first few motion capture films, like where they have those people in those bodysuits and they actually like I don't know, like where they print their skin and then they put them on the computer and generate them. The animation for this, since that it's early computer motion capture, it's not really that good because the motion capture has gotten better, but it's just a start, and it is a fun Halloween treat to watch during Halloween season. When rewatching it, I had a fun time with it.
I also really like that some of the jokes they're very silly, but they still work for me. And as far as the character goes, the most interesting one has to be Mr. Nevercracker, because we get a sense that he's like this grouchy old dude, and I'm pretty sure in any neighborhood in America you could find a story, a tale about a house where like this happened and it's tragic. I remember growing up, there was this house where it was incredibly messy up front, and like the dude was like this dude, we didn't even know his last name. I can't even remember his first name now, but it was always like a story behind it, like don't go in his house because this or happened. And that sort of reminded me while watching this movie. You?
Yes, it does, because you're thinking there's just a grouchy old man living in a grouchy house, but there's actually a story between it, and yeah, in real life, you don't really get to know the full story about this old man.
And it's also about perception, because everybody, all the kids in the neighborhood look at him like, oh man, that guy's a mean guy. Like he doesn't want us anywhere near his yard. He's like so grouchy and stuff. But once we progress into the movie, we find out that he's really the protector of the neighborhood, and he's trying to keep all of these kids safe. And sometimes that might mean they lose a tricycle or a kite or a basketball. But in the long run, he's just taking a little piece to appease the monster house. Something to keep her at bay, I suppose. And I think it really works as horror. It's truly a horror movie for kids. It has all the hallmarks, like the jump scares and the mysterious background of that one person and stuff like that. So how did you enjoy it as far as the story goes?
The story, it is good, and now that you mentioned it, I didn't really pick on that. He really is just trying to protect the kids, even if it's like taking their toys or kites or bikes away.
Yeah, and the way I saw that is like, it's almost like a tribute to the house, to the monster house, to keep her somewhat happy. So I'm gonna take this tricycle, and that's gonna be sort of like a snack or whatever. And I think he felt it was a better alternative than her having actually eat the kids and stuff like that. So I felt like that really worked for me. And the final action sequence, it went on a little longer than I remembered, but I think it works overall. What do you think?
Yeah, and something that I'm realizing is that there's a lot of sounds, and the kids were screaming a lot, and like there's just a lot of sound, and I'm thinking, how come none of the neighbors or none of the trick or treaters heard any of that, or actually were nosy enough to go there?
That's exactly right. That's something you brought up a couple of times during the movie. It's like the house is literally coming to life, and it eats a cop car and cops, and there's literal explosions.
Eats a dog too.
It's a dog too, and there's literal explosions by the end of when we have the final action sequence, and nobody comes out of their house. Nobody picks out their window. Nobody walks by, especially because it's Halloween night. You know, there's trick or treaters. None of that happens. I guess it's one of those moments you have to accept. Like in order for the movie to work, you just gotta suspend belief for a little bit and just go along with it, right?
Yeah, you just gotta go along with it. Maybe they just didn't want to render more humans because it's already expensive to do the humans they already had.
Exactly. So, and also, how would you explain that away as far as the story goes and stuff like that? If you had everybody running, you know, so it's because it's supposed to be like, oh, nobody believes these kids, you know, another hallmark of a horror movie where that one person is telling everybody the monster's coming, it's coming to eat us, and everybody thinks like, sure, you're crazy. So that's how it works also as a horror movie for kids. And, it's really entertaining. There's a lot of funny parts, and I really enjoy it. Like, any closing thoughts about this movie?
Yeah, I really enjoy this movie. I think it's a fun time to watch. I think if you have like a younger kid, they might be scared of the house. But I watched this when I was younger, 5 years old, and the house didn't really scare me. Well, kind of did. But on the Blu-ray menu, it's the house, and I'm still scared of that. But in the movie, the house doesn't scare me.
That's really funny about how that works with Eric. But anyway, those are our thoughts on Monster House. This is GBE Nights of Fright. We're going to be doing this at least once a week. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And give me all your candy.
Ooh.